As well, Fudge on the Thor, I think he had a pretty good game. The only problem I saw from him is he really struggled with getting experience. His dunks were great. He was hitting 3-4-man dunks, but he just had no damage.
And that's simply because of the fact that the Odin in the early game is just too much for the Thor to handle. Whenever you get hit by the Bird Bomb combination, you're going to get poked out so heavily, and the lane clear is just too strong for Barrage. So if I'm XL, I'm thinking of, okay, we need to maybe change up our style, and we need to be the ones that are going to be aggressive.
Well, Barrage here, they won the first game, so XL have elected to be first pick, first ban this time round, and we'll see if this thing changes things up. Do you expect them to first pick Guan if it's available?
Unless they pick up maybe Odin early on, depending on what strategy they kind of want to go for, or to deny the strategy of Barrage.
That's true. Well, Barrage have showed threats on Odin in multiple roles now as well. They've got Proxy in the jungle, they've got Watson in the solo lane that's not scared to play it either. As Ao Kwang and Khepri get banned out, XL recognizing the Khepri felt like it was a bit of an issue for them, as was the Odin.
So right away, now wanting to deal with Odin, this gives a lot of opportunity for XL to run a similar strategy to the last game now. If they wanted to run that Guan Yu specifically, it's a lot safer.
Very interesting to see the soul bomb from Barrage. So they leave Raijin up, they leave Zeus up, they also leave Guan Yu up. A lot of things available to them, and the first focal point for XL will be the Raijin.
Going to be the ones playing aggressive with the Raijin, not electing to pick up the Nuwa this time around. So this means that they're going to go for this kind of early game pressure, having the Raijin with the Soul Stone Purple Pod. There could be a lot of junglers that can follow up with that, whether it's the Naja or the Fenrir.
Naja or the Fenrir. Well, Guan locked in for Barrage, more than likely going to Watson in the solo lane there. He'll be happy with that one, especially with Odin not being available. And Zeus for the mid lane too. Well, Barrage looking pretty good so far. XL, I expect to see the Thor come out here.
Should be necessarily the Thor. You have the long-range Tectonic Rift to set up the Raijin damage as well, so you could see that kind of a pressure in the earlier stages of the game, as well as if you have Xbalanque, Raijin, and Thor, that's going to be a lot of trouble, but it's not going to be Xbalanque, it's going to be the Apollo.
Apollo for the split push opportunity, and the global rotations available to him as well. XL will also lock in Athena, so they're focusing on the duo lane here instead, making sure Zeus does not have anybody to allow free poke damage, which is what Athena really does bring from that support role.
You have a little bit of global pressure from XL. You also have a great initiation in the Athena, which will set up the Raijin burst damage. Xbalanque going to get taken for Barrage. More than likely, Barrage is looking for the Thor, wanting to play aggressive with that style.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think both teams here, they should be looking at jungle bans, and I think we'll see a lot of them, and it'll be like a game of, well, let's be honest, Fudge, Proxy, who's got the deeper jungle pool? Because that's what it should come down to now.
If I'm Barrage, I'm banning Fenrir, Naja. If I'm XL, I'm banning Thor for sure.
Just Thor for sure against...
Like, absolutely, you have to ban Thor in this situation. Unless, well, because Barrage gets the next pick.
Barrage
so they
the
have,
next pick.
Barrage gets the next pick. They were second pick. So they have to, XL has to make sure that whatever jungler they don't want to deal with, that they ban now.
Hades taken away by Barrage. They don't want to deal with that in the solo lane against Guan Yu, obviously. And then Geb in response from XL. So they're, XL not going for junglers here. They're focusing more on the supports.
Banning away the Geb in this situation leads me to believe that XL thinks that the Guan Yu is in solo lane. However, you could also run the Guan Yu in the support position, and with Xbalanque, that's not a bad idea. Having the branching bolas and the throwing dagger at your disposal will allow you to clear the way very efficiently. However, you're going to be exposed to the Apollo Mez and the Athena taunt.
Well, Barrage are not going to take Thor for themselves here. They've banned it themselves here. They don't want to go up against Fudge. I think Fudge played that pretty well. He just fell behind on experience because he was having his jungle strips. His ults were good. The only thing is, when he landed Berserker Barrage, he did no damage because he was underleveled.
It seems like Proxy has a better strategy in mind than picking up the Thor. We're going to see how he complements the Zeus. Naja and the Fenrir are open. There's a lot of other bursty junglers coming out, whether you want to do the Thanatos as well. Hunbats being taken off the table, so that would have been a lot of area of effect control between the Zeus and the Hunbats.
Yeah, and the Guan Yu as well, and Xbalanque to make the Darkers and Knights could have caused a lot of issues for them. So Barrage more than likely going to pick up a jungler here. They'll save their last pick to give the flex option of Guan Yu being support or solo lane based on the matchup that XL throw them into.
Next pick should be the jungler, since both teams are going for a jungler. It's a hot commodity right now.
Naja?
Fenrir?
Fenrir. Let's go Fenrir.
I want to see Fenrir.
Fenrir's not a bad opportunity here. He's going to force Purification. I wouldn't actually mind seeing Fenrir on XL squad just because Athena taunts and Fenrir Ragnarok. He's just going to allow you multiple times to force those Purifications set up for big Raijin damage.
It's going to be the Bacchus support right now. It's going to complement the Xbalanque because whenever the Bacchus Intoxicate goes off, Darkest of Nights, it's going to force the stun in that situation. So, interesting idea for Barrage in that dual lane.
It could potentially get a lot of poke damage out there, but their early game a little bit weakened. I guess with Bowler, though, and throwing dagger, it's not going to be as bad for the Xbalanque. Apollo and Athena definitely have lane control there early on in that little skirmish in the dual lane. Ravana for the solo laner, XL here. And I think that's a good call there because Kaajee seemed to struggle last game. I don't think it was because his playstyle was bad. I think it was just a terrible matchup to be in.
It's a good idea to play a very aggressive bully god against the Guan Yu because once his heal is still only level 1, you can find those opportunities easily to take advantage of it and poke him out. Nemesis is going to get locked in for XL, so whenever Bacchus initiates, XL is looking to counter-engage off of that.
Or the Athena taunt into Nemesis ultimate and Raijin damage is the other option for them there. We've seen that a lot with the Sobek in place of the Athena there for that setup of trio in the mid lane. Well, Barrage, they could run Guan Yu in the jungle here or solo lane, but more than likely it'll be in the solo. And it's still flex there because Cabrakan can solo and jungle himself.
So not going with the Odin walls, but there's still more walls in terms of Cabrakan. If Nemesis double dash is down, she's going to be a very easy target for Barrage.
Not only her, Athena too could really get herself pinned into an awkward position, and keep an eye on the thunder crashes from Raijin because he might not be able to escape. We're into game, and let's see where they're going to play. It is going to be Watson and the Guan Yu in the solo lane, and Proxy will take Cabrakan to the jungle here, and it looks like he's going for the power potion start. Meanwhile, his teammate Elexum will not be opting for that. Looks like he's going towards the tiny trinket for potentially the Bancrofts early.
Looking at the relics so far, we do have the Bacchus going with the meditation. Athena holding on to her relic currently, and it's going to make me believe that the Bacchus is thinking about playing aggressive in this situation. Athena picking up the sprint, so it could be easy opportunity for them to engage or disengage.
Sprint's a very good call here, I think, from the Athena earlier on. You've got to deal with Guan Yu at some point with the cavalry charge so you can get away from that. Chain lightning also slow, so it'll remove that slow from the chain lightning, which can bounce between you. And then when you've got Cabrakan running at you and he cannot be slowed, well, just run faster. That's what you need to do. Get your Nikes on.
It's always a good idea. There's other options as well if you wanted to mitigate a lot of that damage by going the shell during the chain lightning, anticipation of the detonate that will come out, especially if there's a Zeus ultimate on top. So going for more of the mobility style is XL instead of the healing.
Well, Fudge and Handers have taken power potions at the start, and generally with a Nemesis jungle, you do see power pots sometimes come out for a little bit additional wave clear, but if you go for the boots option, you sacrifice some wave clear, but you do actually get yourself that build a little bit quicker, which is what you're looking for as a farming Nemesis early game.
You're trying to clear the jungle camps as soon as possible, whether or not you have the red pot or the boots. You want to clear it and then rotate, clear and rotate. And in the situation with Nemesis and the Raijin, you're going to be leaning more towards an aggressive play style. Raijin's going to be able to clear the way very easily with Soulstone, Power Pot, and the red buff. So you want to complement that with your jungler. No matter what jungler you have to have Power Push in this situation.
I think the issue is Barrage on the right-hand side there should have lane dominance in the 2v2 from the solo laners and junglers at wave clearing early on. You can see them putting that to good effect. So when Hades now makes this rotation for this camp, he needs to be very careful about being pinched in the jungle here because it will be a 3v1.
Looks like he's going to disengage and just give up those Fire Giant Imps as the 2v2 did not favor XL. Raijin going to go back into the mid lane, concede the right side mid Harpies as Nemesis is just going to regroup. It looks like into the back, no, going to go into middle. I thought she was going to go into the back Harpies for a second.
Heading a safer option there, but what I've seen, Hades should have gone for left Harpies on his own. I think he could have gone and taken them, knowing that his teammates weren't going to get pressure in the duo side of things on the right-hand side. But now the contested left-hand Harpies are going through at the moment, and Zeus, Cabrakan still going at it. As the detonate does come down, they're not going to manage to find the stun. They will now onto Fudge, though, who's used his double dash, but no further follow-up from Elexum on the Zeus.
Raijin probably could have got those left side mid Harpies earlier on, like you mentioned. There was a small window of time. However, they still have a nice advantage sitting at level 4 on the Raijin. Cabrakan going to exchange a little bit of poke.
A little bit of poke there, and you can see the shield being thrown out from Elexum for an opportunity for them. Good detonate actually going off after the chain lightning there for some extra. As Kaajee doing what he can against Watson here. Kaajee definitely has the upper hand early on, would you say?
I would say so. He does, with the exception of the fact that the 2v2 didn't go into the favor of Kaajee, but in the 1v1 it certainly does, and there's a lot of options that he could do to exploit that fact.
Proxy going very aggressive there. You can just see him over and over again, just charging into them, forcing them to dash away and play this a lot safer. And let's be fair, XL with that duo lane in mid lane here with the mid and jungle, they have to play it passive.
They do. They could play passive right now. They could also bait because they have the globals out of the dual lane. The Athena can easily rotate with her ultimate. Apollo can still hold the 1v2 and then rotate to clean people up. So it's not looking too terribly right now for XL.
Well, they will hit level 5 very soon here, Rawski and Drizzle as well. You can see Or and Jeron about the same sort of level. This is what you'd expect in the duo lane right now. Drizzle on the Apollo and Athena alongside him will definitely have lane control and good respect from Barrage early on that you have to do. No respect in the solo lane though, as Kaajee is under a lot of pressure from Watson here.
Has to be super careful right now. Not sitting at level 5. Does have a lot of mana available to him, but it doesn't look like he's able to effectively be a bully because Guan Yu has that level advantage because of that 2v2 earlier on.
Had his forced a Thunder Crash away as he was looking at where the rotation was coming from Barrage there as they left the mid lane. So he's going to sit under his tower again, as meanwhile in the jungle, Fudge will clear the backhand Harpies here, and the wave play continues in the dual lane.
It looks like the Bacchus is going to initiate, going to miss onto the Athena, so just going to disengage from there as the Apollo is going to clear those 3 archers. And whenever all the archers and the melee minions are down, it looks like it's going to favor XL. Both of them sitting on a lot of mana right now, and if they wanted to, they could have played very aggressive.
I think that flop was actually more for clearing the wave more than anything else, just supporting and make sure they kept it even in this lane. Now the supports have left, however, and it's down to just Hunter versus Hunter. As on the right-hand side, though, we do get a very good invade coming out from XL there, just realizing they had an opportunity to go and steal away this speed buff, and they do so, giving a bit of a response back to what happened from Barrage last game.
Very well timed, because this not only affects the jungler, but this affects the soul lane as well. Initiation in the mid lane, forcing the purification.
And Had actually avoided the stun, but he's still going to go down to the Intoxicate coming out from all there. The Tremors is keeping them pinned in place here. XL can't respond to that. I thought that was very well played to begin with from Hades there to avoid the stuns, but he still gets bursted by so much.
Normally, I don't like when supports get first blood, but in that situation, I respect it, and actually that was the best play, because the Intoxicate prevented the 3rd and the 4th hit of the Raijin ultimate, and that allowed the disengage to be a lot cleaner after the meditation as well. So great first blood coming out of Awe.
And a quick answer back because of it. They get right on Harpies there, Barrage as well. I'm going to head into the jungle, find out their speed is down. And I think that's where you can also see Kaajee just keeping an eye on his own jungle now, because I expect Proxy to head over to the speed buff, knowing that they may be actually able to steal that one away.
They have to do something in response of losing your speed buff, especially having a 1-player advantage. Apollo slightly out of position, but does have his ultimate available. After clearing the wave, he's able to steal 1 board, not going to get the 2nd one as Bacchus does leap in.
But now he's going to ult away, and if there's enough damage from Elexum to come out, I don't think there is, unfortunately. The detonate's good,
close,
but it's definitely not enough to pick up the kill. And with that, I think we'll expect to see him limp back to base potentially here, Drizzle, and he will do so.
He's going to lose out on a little bit of farming time. However, the Xbalanque did back as well. Xbalanque could have probably looked to get that wave before backing, since the Apollo was forced to ulti away. Could have even counter-invaded on the left side boards and safely steal it without having to worry about the Apollo contesting it, as he was very low.
Very, very true. Over to the solo lane once again, and Watson, small lead here in terms of experience and gold, actually. It's about a 300 gold lead here. As Fudge is trying to clear up the blue buff, Watson's going to spot this one out and force Fudge to run for his life at the moment. But Fudge going to initiate, and now Proxy's coming round 2. They're looking for the pick on Fudge potentially here. Cavalry charge prop, the double dash is down, and instead Watson's going to stay around and look for pressure onto Kaajee. Wall gets dropped from Proxy, but now Proxy's in a lot of trouble on his own.
And the Athena going to find the taunt onto Watson. He has no matter. Raijin comes crashing in, popping his ultimate, trying to find Cabrakan. Does find it. A little bit more damage, not going to find Watson. So great pick onto prOxyQQ. They're able to steal away the blue buff away from Ravana, but losing 1 member in response.
A little bit of miscommunication though from Barrage there. They invaded the jungle. They had an opportunity to pick it onto either one of those, and they couldn't make up their mind. You saw Watson and Proxy choose different targets, and then the rotation from XL on point and in time to turn it around and make sure they pick up the kill.
It was a beautiful wall also to prevent the Nemesis to come back in with the Athena ultimate. So great recognition by the Proxy. Even though he did die in that engagement, getting Watson ahead in this situation and not behind is allowing Kaajee to just kind of sit in the lane and farm, where he would much rather be aggressive.
Well, Drizzle got baited into a bad situation there with the jump party that he was trying to do with Jeron. Luckily enough, though, all missing the belly flop just allowed him to get away. Otherwise, that was lights out for the Hunter.
And if that kill would have went into the Xbalanque, that would have gave him a good little snowball chance, getting that extra physical power with his stack, giving more tower poke, whether or not he wanted to control and force a goal fear situation maybe on Barrage.
I do like Or's presence so far on the Bacchus, though. He's been around the map multiple times. You've seen him making these rotations. A little bit late to that right-hand side engagement, but aggression over and over again. Now he's putting someone to Fudge here in the mid lane, who has to shield early. He ate a lot from that detonate. I expected after 3 stacks, and you can see Fudge being forced back again.
Great belly flop. Unfortunately, the burp was just out of position to find the stun onto the Nemesis. That would have been a great positioning. Maybe stunning the Nemesis out in between the 1st and 2nd dash would have allowed maybe the Zeus to find the kill.
Just a confirmation of that. Right Harpy's being looked at by Barrage. They'll go their way as well. The fire imps are currently down for about another minute's time, I'd say, there, before the final couple of spawns will come through. And left-hand side, the Hunter versus Hunter matchup, well, it's still the same old thing here. And To be fair, Jeron's not really had an issue against Drizzle this game.
Not at all. Drizzle doing a good job also of baiting out the poison darts and going to backstep it at the same time. So good mechanics coming out of both of these two players right now. Left side mid Harpies going into the favor of Barrage. Gold Fury still stands around, coming up at the 8-minute mark right now. Warding situation favoring Barrage around the Gold Fury. A lot of aggressive wards, and as a result, they're going to try to risk this Gold Fury.
Proxy's on peel duty, going to meet the Athena, and Athena going to go in there up against Aura as well on the Bacchus. That frontline double Guardian setup they've got very, very strong for initiations and constant peel for the team.
And with that, Gold Fury is going to be reset right now, not wanting to risk it too much. Having to deal with the Raijin damage off of the Athena taunt would have been too much for Barrage to handle. Kaajee might be in trouble.
Oh, he's in a lot of trouble here. He's going to force the ultimate out of Athena as well, and if Barrage recognize that, they could look for pressure elsewhere on the map. Talking about pressure elsewhere on the map, Proxy's going for the speed buff now because of that, but instead in mid lane, it's Elexum being focused. He's been isolated and alone. The drums come out. Double taunt comes out from hi-rez there, secures the kill. They will find the speed buff in the jungle, however, but was it really worthwhile?
Losing the Zeus in this situation could open the door for XL to take advantage in a team fight, especially around the Gold Fury. Apollo able to clear the wave right now, looking for something to take away from the duel lane. Not going to find the red buff or the boards, but the Gold Fury does stand strong, and that's exactly where they're going.
Difficult ask, though, up against Aura on the Bacchus with the Intoxicate Darkest of Nights too. However, luckily enough for them, Watson's returning to base, but does have teleport available. Aura engages, going to try and slow them down a little bit, get some good pro pressure off there with the Intoxicate, but now he's going to be careful about being beaten up, and he is going to get beaten up as hi-rez Thunder crashes in. But now Watson has turned up on the back, potentially here, looking for it. No, it was Proxy, I should say, and they will pick up Rawski.
His stack goes onto the Xbalanque, and with that kill, and with a lot of members being low for XL Barrage, thinking about doing the Gold Fury, the Guan Yu was in position, used his teleport as well, could have forced that Gold Fury with a lot of sustain.
Surprised they gave up. I think we were worried about a rotation from, I'm not sure who they were worried about the rotation from potentially there. Athena coming back in a little bit later, but the ultimate was down.
Just a little bit of a missed opportunity, but despite that, they get a kill. They're going to look for potential speed buff invaders. Guan Yu goes around the corner. Speed buff actually is down.
Yeah, Proxy stole that earlier, but they just left a creep. That's BM. Do you do that?
Yes,
you do that in your games?
I do.
You leave creeps?
Actually, yeah, whenever I can. If I really, especially if I'm against somebody.
Totally.
If I know somebody gets triggered by that kind of situation, I will always leave a minion behind.
Is that the major game plan in games of Smite? Is like trying to find the enemy's trigger just to throw them?
You're not necessarily looking to throw somebody off unless you can find the opportunity naturally.
I'll tell you, I naturally found an opportunity. The aggression from Proxy and all there didn't work in their favor, as a lot of pressure was on Proxy, but that ult from Fudge was a little bit too late to really help out the Taiko drums that came out there as well from hi-rez, so just not available for it.
And with Xbalanque being able to bully out the Apollo, this should be a Gold Fury coming out of Barrage, recognizing the fact that Apollo does have to back to base. There was Raijin that backed earlier as well. With a sustain from the Guan Yu, they should be able to do it.
And Kaajee, you think he recognizes this. He may have just caught the angle from this, and he actually shows up the GG email like, yeah, okay, boys, I know what's up. But the Gold Fury's been pulled down, he recognizes it, so he will swing around the corner. Barrage have an opportune moment here just because of how much damage they have, but the dunk could be good coming out. Barrage actually get the Gold Fury, and now the front line is trying to peel themselves back as Barrage. They've got to reinitiate.
Watson wants to re-engage. However, a lot of cooldowns were used, and Barrage getting the Gold Fury, they should disengage. Normally, after getting an objective like that, using abilities, you want to disengage and reset, buy some time a little bit, get your team topped off with the Guan Yu. Unfortunately, XL not able to steal that Gold Fury with the Athena ultimate and the Ravana. He was stunned out before he got the ultimate off.
I like the play, though. I like the play coming out from them, trying to steal it away with the Athena Ravan combination. It could have been very, very strong for them. Just a little bit too late, and Barrage secure it, extend their gold lead a little bit more as the Hunters continue to trade off backwards and forwards, but no one really getting an advantage between them both. Obviously, the kill did go the way of Jeron. I couldn't find his name then. Of Jeron over in that solo lane. Sorry, the dual lane.
So slight lead for Barrage right now, about 3,000 coming up at the 12-minute mark. Gonna get stunned out prOxyQQ away from using his ultimate. The animation did go off as Raijin's animation goes off as well. Just doing a little bit of damage to Proxy, but there is no follow-up. So ultimates were expended for XL, but none for Barrage.
hi-rez and Fudge seem a little bit off the mark with their combinations that could potentially come out from them here. I'm seeing hi-rez pop his ultimate early, ready for the initiation, but the initiation's not coming. And if it does, it's just a little bit too late to make use of that ultimate from the Raijin to make it a good combination and find these kills.
There could be a good target going on the Cabrakan. You taunt him into the Nemesis Raijin ultimate, especially not having any health online for the Cabrakan. Once the Nemesis does target the Cabrakan with her ultimate, that could be an easy kill.
Well, we saw Jeron do this yesterday on Xbalanque, and he's doing the same thing again today. He's actually picking up a Transcendence again after Golden Bow and Ninja Tabi, going for this very, very heavy power build. It's expensive, though, to get to that stage, but if he gets it online, he'll start swinging in the mid-game.
Say it's expensive, but getting that gold here earlier on for Barrage is going to allow them to get this kind of transition in the mid-game that they really need, and having that little bit of a power spike with the Transcendence is going to allow his Poison Darts to spread out throughout the rest of the team fight. Not only are you healing your team with Watson, now you're going to be doing a lot of damage with Jeron's Poison Darts.
Well, hi-rez here in the mid lane. Looks like he's working towards Book of Thoth. Could be a Soul Reaver, but it's a bit early for that. We have seen it out of the boost on the Raijin before, so we'll see which option he goes for there. His lane opponent, though, Elexum on the Zeus. He went for the Bancroft Talon yet again for the extra damage and the sustain, as well as his full boots online. And
there's going to be an engage onto Kaajee right now. Going to get stunned out by Proxy. Proxy getting a lot of return damage. Going to get Nemesis ulti into the taunt. The Raijin ultimate is still not used, however.
Cavalry charge from Watson's on the mark, but he needs to make sure he's got an exit strategy. He finds one as well. But that was XL just noticing Barrage. We're looking for the invade, collapse perfectly with 4 members, and find a nice free pick.
So we talked about the engage onto the Cabrakan, about the combination of ultimates. The Raijin ultimate wasn't even used there, so they know just amount of damage that they need to find that pick without the Raijin ultimate. They can use that for other targets in the later stages of the team fight.
God, these two are man fighting all day, and that was a little bit of miscommunication there from Drizzi and Rawski. They could have combined that a little bit better. They dashed a little bit earlier. It could have been an awkward situation for Jeron to be in, but instead, I like the idea behind it at least. Gold Fury down for another 2 minutes or so. So war coverage being focused on here as Harpies are going to spawn on both sides.
Fudge looking for something aggressive. Zeus recognizing it. Going to go back to the mid lane right now. Left side mid Harpies are started and going to go into the favor of XL.
And just looking at experience lead again, Fudge behind 2 levels on the Cabrakan. Fudge really struggled game 1 with experience, and he's doing the same thing again here. I think the biggest focal point as well is he's picking gods that rely on experience. At least Nemesis does. She relies on getting to that late stage of the game. And at the moment, he's just finding the struggle getting there.
When your speed buff got invaded earlier on, as well as losing the Gold Fury, you have to find some way of objectives. You could find a little bit of poke onto the Zeus, but you can't be the only one. You have to have some follow-up.
And you got to be careful because you're 4 levels down on that Zeus, and he will burst you quite heavily. There's an engage from all though onto hi-rez, going to force the Thunder Crash away. Proxy was coming into the mid lane as well, as was his 2 side laners. But they were going to be a little bit too late for this, but it looks like Barrage, they want to group up here and try and pressure mid lane. All 5 members now together, and XL, well, they're just trying to clear out their own jungle, and they need to defend this tier 1.
They recognize the fact that Fudge is under-leveled right now, and he is going for an aggressive style of a build. He went for the Itchavol onto the Nemesis, and when you're behind as a jungler and you're going for an offensive style, you're going to have to expose yourself in a position where you're going to try to be doing as much damage as you can, but if you don't have the defenses necessary, you're going to fall. So relying on that Nemesis shield as much as possible. Going to have to watch out for the CC, though.
Watch out for the CC. So at the moment, Barrage are up a little bit. It's not doom and gloom, though, from the side of XL this game, totally. They've got a good composition all in all. Their late game pretty strong, especially with a Nemesis and a Raijin and the Athena. Not only that, Apollo for the split push option, too. What do you expect the biggest focal point they need to work on here? Is it going to be like war coverage for the most part? Because it seems like they're giving away a lot of objectives for free.
The way they found the kill onto Proxy around the blue buff is something similar that they're going to have to exploit again against Barrage. They're going to have to ward a little bit, not aggressively, but around the midpoints, and then find where Barrage is rotating, where the aggressive players are coming, and then find that exploit. Find the Athena to make sure that she taunts whoever is going to be aggressive, find the Nemesis ulti and the Raijin damage to follow up.
So war coverage very, very important for this time of XL. They still are having the same troubles that we saw yesterday out of them, which is generally wanting to be the aggressors in these engagements. They're quite happy to let the enemy team go aggressive on them and then try and counteract that. And it's fine to be a counteractive team, but you've got to be a little bit more prepared.
You can't just find the one opportunity onto Proxy. You have to be able to do something off of that. If they're going to find the kill of the aggression from Barrage, they're going to have to find an objective right now. The Apollo is doing a good job in terms of being aggressive against the Xbalanque. Found the boards a couple times. They're going to have to find that every single lane.
So far, guys, we've got a bit of a technical issue, as you can see. At the moment, though, Barrage did win Game 1. They're going into Game 2, and Game 2 is currently going on against XL. And XL, well, they're still looking for their first win after losing to Excellence yesterday. We still have Excellence up against Rival today to actually follow up as well. And Rival, another top contender here, and against Excellence, that should be a very good set as well.
It should be a pretty good match. I love the way Rival's Atonement was playing the Giannis the last set.
You had a good time on that.
Those snipes.
Those snipes were on point. But back to this game then, with the compositions. Is anyone favoured in this just because of comps on their own?
I would say the later the game goes in this situation, the Guan Yu is going to be much more favorable than the Ravana will. So the longer the team fight lasts, it's going to favor Barrage. Now the issue is, as long as XL can find the early picks, then they can maybe exploit it. But they have to find maybe a pick onto the Guan Yu specifically.
Onto the Guan Yu specifically. Well, here's the thing. You've got Guan Yu, they've got Xbalanque as well, which is a great late game composition that you want for yourself. You've still got Zeus in the mid lane, which isn't bad. The enemy team, Apollo, Ravana's got to fall off. They do have a Raijin, though, a Nemesis, so it kind of balances out.
There's a little bit of opportunities for XL, like I mentioned. As long as they don't all group up for the Zeus damage, then they should be fine. And they need to find an early pick. More than likely, it should be on the Guan Yu, but it could be on the Cabrakan as well, because he has a lot of space control. He has a lot of damage with his second ability, getting the stun off on a lot of targets. The Tremors is going to be very annoying for XL to deal with, and that's why the sprint was picked up by the Athena, to try to disengage from that kind of aggression from the Cabrakan and the Guan Yu.
I know we're worried about Guan Yu for late game more often than not, just in terms of the healing, more than anything else. Do we want to see some anti-heal coming out here? Do we expecting curses, pestilences, that sort of thing?
There's a lot of options for them as well. They do have the Raijin, like you mentioned, could pick up the Divine Ruin if they wanted to. The second relic for the Athena, I didn't quite see if whether or not they picked up the curse, but that could be an option if that relic slot is still available for her.
Very, very rough situation for XL to be in, but they're still not out of this one so far, so good for them. EU versus Edit. Well, actually, what we will do, guys, so to keep it started for a moment or two, we're going to go to a quick break where we get this game sorted for yourselves. Apologies for the technical issues. We'll be bringing you back the rest of this game after this short break. Okay, welcome back. Apologies for the technical issues we've been having today once again. It appears I am cursed. It is me who is cursed.
It's not me.
Every time I've casted, it's me.
Only you.
It's just me, guys. Blame Hindu. Feels bad, man. But we will be bringing you the rest of this game after the small technical issues we've had. With 14.5 minutes in, the gold lead is in Barrage's favour. Not by much, though. It's around a 2,000 gold lead for them. And we just saw Barrage starting to group up in mid lane, looking to potentially siege this tier 1 tower and force a fight.
We were talking about the under-leveled and the interesting aggressive stuff from Nemesis that Barrage are trying to take advantage of.
Hadder's already forced to Purification and Sanctuary. Now he's going to Thunder Crash away, but still go down to the Bluestone of Watson. Meanwhile, under the tower's pressure once again onto Fudge as Rawski is annihilated by the detonate of Elexum. Still, the tower under pressure, and they're taking it in turns, tanking it up as another member, Fudge, he's going to be the one to fall to the wayside as well. Finally, Ore does go down to the tower shot as Elexum picks up Kaajee as well. This decision from Barrage to just go, let's go tier 1 tower, force a fight, and they did it, and they made it work.
They're getting rewarded, getting a tower, killing 4 people right now, and they're going to try to extend this into the tier 2 tower, and it looks like they're going to be able to get it. Gold Fury is respawning very soon, so they can easily transition it into the Gold Fury as well.
Ain't no messing around from Barrage here. They all seem to just hit a power spike in terms of items, I think, and went, let's go, let's do this straight away. Winged Blade was online for Watson. And you can see the Void Shield, sorry, Void Storm was also nearly finished as well there by Proxy. And so they went, let's just do this. Let's go for the play, and it worked out perfectly. And now Proxy on his own duty, going to have to deal with the Apollo, who's coming in with support of Rawski, looking for the dunk to end this one. And XL actually steal the Gold Fury away, but maybe they'll get punished for it.
Apollo doesn't have his dash. He's going to be the first victim of this little engage. Hadder's going to use his ultimate, but not able to find anybody or able to save the Apollo. XL stealing the Gold Fury is going to give them a breath of life right now a little bit.
It will give them a breath of life. If you go to the graphs, you'll see even though they lost a tier 2 tower and a tier 1, the gold lead is only 3,600, which shouldn't be a lot worse than that right now.
But the experience right now is at 7,000 into the favor of Barrage, and Teamfight is definitely going to go into Barrage's favor with the sustain from the Guan Yu and the spread up poison damage from Jeron. I'm really liking their team fighting right now.
Yeah, XL seem to be doing very well at counter-initiating, and that's what they seem to be good at, apart from that last engagement under the tier 1. But seeing away the Gold Fury, that's something Barrage need to work on themselves going forward. They like to go for objectives, they're objective focused, but their peel and their control is something to be looked at, because they've lost Fire Giants before, they've lost Gold Furies before.
I would like to see prOxyQQ use his ultimate to zone away the Apollo instead of trying to stun him out in that situation.
I think he may have been on cooldown was the issue with that, but they had Bacchus as well, right? Bacchus could have been there trying to help him out and slow them down from coming in. They knew the only play they really had was the Athena dunk, other than anything doing it. But now, right-hand side, pressure here from Watson against 2. He's not scared of these at level 18 to a 16 and a level 12. There's nothing these two can do to stop the Guan Yu.
He has a lot of sustain, a lot of physical defense. He could tank the tower and 1v2 in the situation, especially when prOxyQQ and R are coming around the corner. Meanwhile, on the dual lane side of things, Xbalanque dueling against Apollo with a 1-level advantage.
Yeah, he got a lot of minion poke there as well, which really hurt him. But fights all over the map as aggression comes out in the duo lane and the solo lane. And it's Drizzle who's losing the fight to Jeron. Drizzle, overextended, looked to make the big time play, and instead he got sent back to base, packing away. Now Elexum under pressure, so Thunder Crash comes out as well from hi-rez in the mid, but the return damage between the two. The mages are still going at it, but now the support comes out for Barrage.
Athena using her ultimate defensively just to disengage right now. Xbalanque, after winning that 1v1 skirmish, is going to be able to split push on the left-hand side. Meanwhile, the rest of his team four-manning this tier 2 tower.
And with 2 Guardians, a Guan for heals, and a Zeus, they should be able to do this with even without the minions here, just taking in turns to tank this up. Tier 1 tower does fall on the left in favor of Barrage, as you said, and still nobody here from XL to defend. They have to give up the tier 2 tower.
And with that, goal lead is going to extend to about 7,000 right now. Going to extend the experience to about 12,000. So Barrage looking very strong in team fights.
Experience is just the biggest issue right now overall. The rotations from Barrage, realizing how far ahead in experience they are on their lane opponents, just in that, is enough for them to realize they can just turn the heat up.
It's mostly on the solos and the junglers right now. Both the Barrage solo jungler has a 3-level advantage over their opposition. And as long as they're all grouped up in these team fights, just the base stats alone and a little bit of more of an item lead should carry them to victory.
And poor Fudge, man, on that Nemesis, level 12, he's below the supports right now. He's just not getting his jungle whatsoever. He's not managing to find the farm, and it's something you don't want to see on a Nemesis.
An underleveled Nemesis not having the in-hands available to her to do the damage that she's required of, going for this more of an offensive style of a build, is going to be very tricky for her to find the right timing and opportunity to go into the backline.
It's times like that when you're in the jungle that you want to be a Humbats. You know, your Fear No Evil's still going to be very effective. You've got multiple ways to get in and out of fights and be a nuisance at least. But as a Nemesis, well, you're going to be an ult bot that's going to shred 50% protection, and that's going to be it for now.
And you're going to have to rely on your teammates to follow up off of your ulti. There is some potential there with the Raijin specifically that needs to follow up on, specifically onto the Cabrakan maybe, if he gets out of position with the Athena taunt as well.
Fudge will get his own speed buff as Watson over there. Really well played from Kaajee there. What he's actually doing is trying to body block him to stop him running off the map. Bad news is, though, he's in combat to minions right now. I don't think he's intentionally trying to kill him. He's actually being a good old soul on that right-hand side. You can actually see 3 members rotating over from Barrage here to make sure he gets out and gets back to base. Hopefully, though, Kaajee doesn't try to exploit it too much, and you can see the rotation from Barrage just making sure the tier 1 tower doesn't fall. They didn't recognize what Kaajee was doing, but Kaajee was being a good old man.
Really great sportsmanship coming out of Kaajee, allowing Barrage's Watson to go back to base in that situation, just not wanting to exploit that fact. There would be a lot of players in the competitive scene that wouldn't allow that kind of situation. They would want to get any sort of advantage, so they would find the kill onto the disconnected target.
They did exploit the mid lane a little bit, which I can understand. If you're behind as well, you have to go for something. Not taking kills is one thing, but getting free back objectives, I'll take them every day of the week. Engagement in mid lane on hi-rez in a 4v5 fight now with Watson being disconnected for the time being. Apollo in the skies, the drums of war are sounded, returning some damage good onto Elexum, and he does get dunked by Drizzle there as well. And now following that, hi-rez is also going to fall, so Mage is down in the mid lane, but now the Apollo that dunked the back is left isolated and alone. Needs help from Rawski as well as Kaajee coming in to support. Root is good, but still, meanwhile, Jeron still picks up Drizzles. The taunt is good. It looks like Jeron's going to be in trouble now as well. Trying to return damage with the poison. Asi making an impact, but not enough to stop the in-hand of Kaajee, bringing him down.
Trying to find the Athena, gonna find it in change of the Xbalanque. So trading the support for the Hunter, definitely gonna favor XL in this situation.
And there is a quick pause coming out to allow Watson to get back into the game as well. 12-6, and well, XL, they took a tier 1 tower in the mid lane, realizing the DC was there, so exploit that. I'm okay with that personally. And then after that, they lose a team fight. It's like, well, that's what you get. And there's your comeuppance.
In that situation, you don't, even though the enemy does have one member that disconnected, you're not gonna just sit there and do nothing about it.
Exactly.
I like the fact that you don't kill the disconnected targets, but you're still going to play the game regardless in a 5v4 situation.
And realistically, when you look at what they chose to do, they use either a tier 1 tower for 100 gold each, or give a shutdown bonus of Watson, which is 2-0 and 3 right now. Shut him down and get some gold on. They could have given that over to Nemesis as an example there, who needs the levels, needs the experience, needs the gold.
And with that, the Nemesis still going to be 3 levels behind currently solo laners. So with Watson disconnecting, that allowed Kaajee to catch up level-wise. Now both sitting at level 19. So XL getting a little bit of a comeback as a result.
Yeah, but it's still grim. I mean, you just lost a 4v5, right? You lost a 4v5, and it wasn't a comfortable 4v5 at all. You had the starting objective, you had the initiation chance, and Barrage ended up winning that 4v5, which tells you Barrage are definitely feeling themselves now. And with Watson back, Kaajee's got to have to deal with him again.
He's looking for blood right now. Watson's like, all right, I'm back. Let's go. He's going to try to get off a little bit of poke. Put Kaajee in an awkward position where his back is facing the tier 1 tower of Barrage.
Like a fire giant call actually coming out here from Barrage. They're setting up for it. They're going to try and force something because Nemesis is on the left-hand side of the map, as is Apollo here. All 5 members of Barrage grouped up together, looking for a pick. Going to stun Kaajee. A little bit of pressure onto Kaajee here. He's not too panicked just yet, but he's forced to ult away. And now with that ult being on cooldown, the rest of the team collapsed. There's no reinforcements from XL anywhere. They're doing the Gold Fury instead.
Apollo was in the air thinking about rotating to the team fight, instead wanted to land onto the Gold Fury, thinking that it was going to be a little bit too little too late for him to rotate. So giving up one objective for the other. The better objective is for Barrage, though.
Up to hi-rez to try and get in there with the ultimate in time for the fire jam. You can see it's already at 40%. The wall from Proxy is beautifully placed. Slow them down. Fire giant to Barrage, 13-6, and the army will march in.
And the Raijin is going to have to disengage. Sprint was used to help disengage as well. Drizzle going to find the mez onto the Guan Yu, but can he get away from the rest of the damage?
Got him to force the ultimate from Fudge there, but the blink from Proxy's on point, and in the end, Fudge's shield will keep him alive for a moment, not long enough to stop the detonate coming out. Thunder Crash away there as well from the mid laner. hi-rez trying to get away from the danger, but Phoenix in mid lane is now going to fall in favor of Barrage.
5-on-3 currently for Barrage, with all members having the Fire Giant. Mid Phoenix does fall, going to transition over to the solo lane side, and the way Proxy zoned out from the Fire Giant is exactly how he has to do during these objectives.
And there you can also see Drizzle getting caught out of position there. The flop was good enough, and this frontline Guardian combo has worked out great for Barrage here. XL, though, trying to defend to the heart's content here, keep this Phoenix up, and you can see the Barrage looked for kills and not the actual Phoenix, but the turnaround is good. The reinitiation, the Fire Giant regen, and the damage coming out is just too much for XL to handle.
Athena having to dash away from the Tremors, does get charged a lot by the Zeus. Detonate is going to clean her up as well. 4 members have fallen for XL, only the Nemesis to stand against 2 members. Watson is a little bit low, but has Fire Giant and has the self-sustain, and is thinking of playing very aggressively here. 2 Phoenixes fall so far.
Are they trying to end this? It's a bit risky with just the 2 of them there. No real minions with them, just normal ones. So instead, they will limp back into the enemy jungle here, clear up the back harpies here, and potentially start pushing for the tier 2, because these 2 do still have Fire Giant.
There's still a lot of gold available to take as well. Tier 2 tower does stand. The Phoenix on the left-hand side does stand as well, and that could be easily able to excel Barrage to get their full items online.
Well, going to go back and get the red buff here is Elexum as well. Had a pretty good game for himself in the mid lane. 7, 2, and 7, positioning pretty much on point, but he's not been too focused, I would say. They've not managed to find him out of position too many times this game.
It's very risky to try to dive and go all in against the Zeus, who's going to be able to just drop the ultimate on top of himself, drop the shield on top of himself, and it's very easy to just use your chain lightning on top of the shield, and whoever's diving you is going to take an enormous amount of damage that you have to deal with, especially with the Bancroft's Talon. It makes it less tempting to want to dive a Zeus.
Well, small boon of hope for XL. They will have minions pushing constantly in the middle and right-hand side, which means they can pick up that farm they so desperately need on some of their characters here. You can see Drizzle getting those fire minions in mid, trying to finish off that Wind Demon to get some crit online for himself and give himself a little bit more opportunity to return some of this damage down, which is very burst heavy from Barrage.
It is a lot of burst right now, and with the Fire Giant being down and still 2 members onto Barrage with Fire Giant, they're going to go on the left-hand side trying to get this last remaining tier 2 tower. hi-rez going to get caught, and Watson, if he wanted to, he could use his cavalry charge here easily.
Teleport force onto Kaajee as well there. Proxy just going to continue pushing in mid lane as 4 members group up too with Fire Giant buffs, means that XL will limp back to their final Phoenix and look to defend this one. It's the last stand of a team that's very up against it here, very far behind at the moment in terms of itemization and levels too. And there's the engagement. Darkest of Nights goes out. Cavalry charge too, running straight to the back, looking for hi-rez, going to find him. Watson, meanwhile, forced away is Kaajee using the ultimate after Proxy gets a good wall off, but all 3 Phoenixes down. Barrage are finding kills.
They found the kill. Elexum going to get focused. However, the peel from the Bacchus is there. The heals from Watson is going to allow the Zeus to keep on doing damage. Apollo trying to do something. Athena going to dash in, trying to get the taunt onto the Xbalanque, but it's going to be too little too late. Oh, is going to be the first victim, but the Titan falls.
Titan falls, and Barrage take this series 2-0 and puts themselves at the top of the standings in Europe for a little while. while at 3-1 before the game that's coming up next. Good performance from Barrage here. Pretty much played to their strengths. They still got plenty of obvious weaknesses that they need to correct going forward.
There are some weaknesses, but their team compositions, the way they've been picking and banning in both games, have been really on point and utilizing the Guan Yu perfectly to their advantage. And I really like what Barrage did that second game, having the kind of aggressive style that they did, taking advantage of XL. The Nemesis was behind all game, and that's kind of what inspired Barrage to kind of roll objectively.
And XL, for them, they're very, not necessarily a negative play sizing. They'll sit back and wait and counter-initiate the whole time. Doesn't really work out for them, and it allows people like Elexum to just be aggressive the whole time and find these plays.
Especially with the Zeus, and the second game is the Zeus. The game one on the Raijin specifically, on top of prOxyQQ's Odin, he always found the right timing and the right opportunity to get off his damage.
And this is just a reinitiation you see after Fudge goes in aggressively. And he just finds the kill because they walk forward there, XL. Good decision making from his positioning. He's very, very good for the most part, Elexum.
It seems like he loves to play aggressive, likes to trade, and that favors him, especially if he's going to go for the Bancroft's Talon.
Nothing aggressive though. Look how he just throws it in hand. He's like, okay, I'm just going to sit the back, make sure I'm behind my front liner the whole time. Max distance. If I can't reach it, it's fine. I'm still going to throw the in hands and see if they close the gap. I'm not going to overextend until I know I've got my teammates with me.
And this is the way the Barrage played in general, is what allowed Elexum to kind of get away with the style that he's been playing. He was aggressive on the Raijin, but he didn't need to play aggressive on the Zeus.
So with that, 3-1 Barrage are up. Next up, however, we do have Rival versus Excellence. Excellence, they won their first set up against XL. They're against Rival, who found a split against Barrage. We'll be back after the break with that matchup.